Hi, welcome back to InfoCredit. Today, we are covering solo leveling. The battle for Jeju Island reached a boiling point as the Korean team, led by Yoon-Ho and Choi, faced off against an endless swarm of ants. The creatures pressed closer, and Choi, already exhausted, warned that increasing his attack power might drain the last of their oxygen. They were trapped, with Choi's fire the only thing holding the monsters back. But just as hope began to dwindle, a shadow emerged, halting the ants in their tracks. Yunho's eyes widened in shock. Was it him? The mysterious figure stepped into the fray, an imposing shadow warrior, like something out of a nightmare. Before Yunho could react, the shadow sent a signal to Jinwoo, who was already rushing toward the island. This is bad, Jinwoo thought, as he sprinted through the city. The situation was critical. Meanwhile, back on Jeju Island, panic hit a cameraman as two massive ants charged toward him. But before the camera could catch his final moments, both ants were pierced by a sword. Who? At the Korean broadcasting station, the team was about to shut down the live feed, overwhelmed by the flood of complaints and the dire situation on the island. But then, a crew member reported a mysterious figure had appeared at the raid site. The chief hesitated, his finger hovering over the shutdown button. Then, in a single heartbeat, he gave the order to keep the broadcast running. Korea's fate now lay in the hands of this new hunter. Cut to Jinwoo on the front lines. The winds howled as Jinwoo landed on Jeju Island. Calm but determined, he faced down the swarm of ants. "Iron," he called, "draw their attention." Without hesitation, Iron activated his taunting cry, pulling the entire nest toward them. Jinwoo grinned. Iron's growth was impressive. The battle exploded into chaos. In seconds, Jinwoo moved like lightning, slashing through ants with ease. "Behind the king of humans?" Jinwoo's lips curled into a smirk. "Insects can talk now?" he replied sarcastically. The two monsters, one human, one ant, faced off. The Ant King's aura was almost suffocating, but Jinwoo met it with a grin. "Now you seem more like a bug." The battle between them was brutal. The Ant King's punch sent Jinwoo crashing into the ground, causing a massive explosion. The hunters watching were certain Jinwoo had been severely wounded, but when the smoke cleared, he stood unscathed. The battle raged on, Jinwoo's blows sending shockwaves through the Ant King's armor. But then, with a devilish grin, the Ant King activated a paralyzing poison, sending Jinwoo to his knees. "I got this poison from a poisonous snail. You're already dead," the Ant King taunted. Jinwoo, however, had other plans. He focused, dispelling the poison from his body with sheer willpower. The system chimed. Poison cure completed. Jinwoo launched himself back into the fray, unleashing a barrage of punches and strikes so fast they were a blur. He quickly overpowered the Ant King, pushing him back with an almost impossible display of physical strength. But the Ant King wasn't done yet. He summoned his army, a wave of soldier ants, charging towards Jinwoo. But Jinwoo's response was swift. "Go forth," he commanded, and his shadow warriors surged forward, ready to meet the swarm head-on. The final moments of battle were brutal. Tusk unleashed a devastating fire blast, obliterating the ant army in a massive explosion. The Ant King, cornered and weakened, attempted to flee, but Jinwoo wouldn't let him. He dashed forward, catching the Ant King mid-flight, slamming him into the ground. With one final decisive move, Jinwoo activated his vital strike and sliced through the Ant King's defenses. The creature's monstrous body fell, lifeless. As the battle came to a close, Jinwoo turned to the fallen bodies of the hunters. He needed to save Hunter Cha, and time was running out. camera crew, stunned by the sheer brutality and power they had witnessed, hesitated. Jinwoo approached, ordering them to shut off the feed for a moment. There were things no one could see. Jinwoo's next move was as dangerous as it was desperate. He requested the body of Hunter Min Bangu, who had been killed earlier in the battle. The others looked on in horror as Jinwoo attempted to reanimate him. It was a forbidden skill, one that raised the dead. "Arise," Jinwoo whispered. The body of Min Bangu jerked to life as a shadow warrior. But it wasn't just the power that stunned them. It was the fact that Min Bangu retained his healing abilities. Without a command, he rushed toward Hunter Cha and healed her wounds. Yoon-Ho stood, stunned. "What have you done?" Jinwoo didn't respond. He simply turned away, his gaze already shifting to the next battle. The others were silent, trying to process what they had just witnessed. But they knew one thing for certain. Jinwoo was not a man to be underestimated. Meanwhile, aboard a Japanese warship, the tension was rising. Hashino, visibly shaken, admitted that no hunter, no one, could have defeated the Ant King. But as the Japanese team looked on, they saw a new hope in Jinwoo, the only hunter powerful enough to face such monsters. Back on Jeju Island, Jinwoo finished clearing the last of the ant monsters. With the help of his shadow warriors, he destroyed the unhatched eggs, earning vital experience points. He also retrieved the Demon King's sword, a weapon that crackled with immense power. He knew this weapon would help them in the battles ahead. The Japanese team, still reeling, watched as the last remnants of the ant army were wiped out. And in the United States, the Hunter Bureau was already taking notes, preparing for what might be the most extraordinary hunter recruitment mission of all time. Jinwoo had become a living legend, and the world was about to feel the impact of his rise.